I've supported you. You mentioned Peloton, and you have bike ride that you do annually, and you raise a lot of money and it makes a big difference. I want to connect this. You talk about workplace issues frequently, particularly for women, the LGBTQ community. Talk a little bit about that, and maybe even if you can build the bridge to how do you think event industry can do better to support these kind of diverse voices and ensure inclusivity in the professional setting?
I know it's feels like very out of step to say that diversity, equity, and inclusion means something, but it does, and it does mean that in workplace, and it's more than words; it's actually in actions as well. So look, I'm happy to be the gay gal who gets trotted out during Pride Month. It's June. Can you come talk to us?
Can I just make one facetious comment?
Please.
I always. And this is a little bit tongue in cheek, but this is true. People think diversity, equity, inclusion, and they're like black, white, male, female, gay, lesbian, this or that. And it's there's urban, there's rural, there's people that are working on farms, there's aerospace engineers, there are cat people, there are dog people, there are people that never eat out, there are people that always eat out. I mean, the constraint of the diversity, equity, inclusion, or there's people that are disabled or not disabled. It's just mind blowing how limited it is. So I just wanted to soften the ground for you a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's funny is that issues matter all the time in the workplace, right? And we know that there is I think the biggest divide in most workplaces is generational, and it is less about how you kind of get typecast in a role. But what I do think is important is that if you have somebody who can transcend lots of different groups, bring all the groups in. And I'll give you my favorite example of this is I have a very good friend who is a partner at a white shoe law firm in New York. And she wanted to do a book event for me. And she said, I want to do this event. How do you think I should market it? I said, well, I think you should say the women's group, the gay group, and everybody else is invited. And whoever else wants to come. But you bring if you have people who step through all these different worlds, it's great. Look, I can't not be what I am, right? I am an out gay woman in media who has been on Wall Street. So I understand these worlds very well. But I also understand that there are a lot of voices that feel unheard. And so if you can kind of bring and it was funny because at the when she announced it, the group, which was I think the mothers group, was like, well, what about us? And my friend's like, well, she has 2 dogs, she doesn't have children, but yeah, come on. But people want to participate with people and content that they find compelling. So I just am always careful about saying, oh, it's Pride Month, let Jill do that. Or it's Pride Month, let me get my one gay person in the organization, interview the other gay person.
Right.
That is so boring. It is so boring. I mean, believe me, pay me enough, I'm sure I'll do it. But I remember I went to a very high profile person and said, I've been asked to do this thing, which is basically a gay group on Wall Street. And I said, if you participate, all the other CEOs will participate. And this guy said, I'll participate, but I don't think there's any reason why I need to be doing this at this point. It seems completely ridiculous. And by the way, that was in 2014. And so obviously it was not ridiculous, and things still matter. And so what I think is important if you're looking at diversity as in terms of content, you know what? Yeah, you should be concerned if there's 5 white dudes who are in their 50s up there from the exact same schools. It's going to be boring. They all know each other. It's fun for them. It's not fun for other people. I had one woman.
Nobody wants to be in a sea of sameness all the time. It's just
exactly. And by the way, I had a woman who opened my eyes to this. I did an event with a woman, and she'd studied diversity in corporations. She was a Black woman. She's now passed away, but she was a Black woman who did incredible research. And what she used to say, which made me laugh out loud, was nobody wants the other to come in. And, people always get bristled about that. What do you mean? Yeah. I'm so like that. She's like, okay, let me give you an example. And she like talks about this. She goes, I was with 5 professional women and we were talking about shoes that were really comfortable to wear from like the airplane to the stage. And she said, and a guy walked in and we all stopped because we didn't want to be seen as talking about something that was like very female. And she said, and I bet that guy felt really weird and outside of our conversation. And we felt like, oh, you interrupted our good conversation. She's like, so we all feel it. Like we all do feel it. So I think that we have to embrace that, like the more diversity and the mix of people and mix of opinions, it's going to be better. We actually have better interviews when we have different kinds of people. Who would have thought that a woman who is going to do financial stuff for a financial firm is such a Broadway nerd that she's going to go deep into a conversation with Julie Andrews?
Remarkable.
Right?
I mean, remarkable. I'm still, I tell you, I'm still buzzing from that. And it was years ago. It's just so cool.